Hello, welcome or welcome back to Heart Healing. Thanks for being here. If you're a returning viewer, you may have seen my last video about letting go. That one focused more on the general approach, but today I want to focus on letting go of perfectionism. I might share a few more letting go topics, depending on what inspires me, and if you're new here, I invite you to check out that last video to get a sense of how I approach letting go. Before we dive in, I want to start by saying that we all have that inner voice that criticizes, compares, or tells us we're never enough. Becoming aware of it is the first step in learning to let go of perfection. I recently had to remind myself again that I don't have to do everything perfectly. The truth is, I was trying to post longer videos at least once a week on my 3 YouTube channels in 3 different languages. I wanted to stick to my original plan and not give up so easily, since I tend to take on challenges. But after a while, I started to feel exhausted, especially when my body and mind were clearly asking me to slow down, but still, I didn't stop right away. I thought I could keep going because a part of me didn't want to fail or go back on my word. Then I noticed that this was coming from that old part of me who wanted to do everything perfectly, to prove that I could handle it all. So I finally decided to listen to what my heart had been telling me and respect my limits without judgment and prioritize my time and energy without shame or guilt. This experience reminded me how easily that perfectionist part of me can show up, even when I have already learned to be kinder to myself. Here's another example I can give you about letting go of perfectionism. I had no idea what I wanted to create before I started this piece. I only knew that I wanted something bright with watercolor for the background and maybe to use other materials on top. But as I laid the first few layers with yellow, orange, and purple, I decided to go for the sunset. It was a discovery, and I loved the process of allowing myself to go along as I saw fit. There were plenty of mistakes along the way. Some areas were overworked or became too saturated, and the paper started to peel a bit. I'm still new to this medium, and I rarely paint landscapes. The only other landscape I painted with acrylics was also a sunset back in 2012, so this piece really pushed me out of my comfort zone. During editing, I realized I had used watercolor in the style more like acrylic or oil painting, which made the process kind of funny to watch. Well, at least for me. I noticed where I overdid or didn't do enough while editing, where I could have given a little more care or a little less pressure, more patience, or what I could have done better. Editing is a bit like looking back at our own past. We see the choices we made, the decisions that didn't work out, and the moments we might wish we could redo. We might think, I could have done that differently, or I should have known better. But that's the thing, we didn't and we couldn't. We only know now because we have already lived through it. It's the same with creating art. Mistakes are often the best teachers. Many of them teach us valuable lessons. They show us what's possible next time, and we can reflect on the process with gentleness instead of harsh criticism. We stumble along the way, unsure of what we are doing most of the time, and that's what makes each of us unique. I try to reflect on my artwork during editing, the same way I reflect on my past, with compassion and kindness when I write in my journal, and I invite you to do the same. I say this because I know how it feels being on the other end. I used to judge myself more harshly than anyone else ever could. Growing up, I was constantly criticized and compared, especially by my mother. Nothing I did was ever good enough for her. And subconsciously, I took on that same voice within me. I became my own worst critic. The belief of not being good enough followed me for most of my life. It became perfectionism. I thought if I could just do everything right, maybe then I would feel worthy, loved, or accepted. But of course, perfection doesn't exist. It only keeps us trapped in fear and self-doubt. It took me time to unlearn that belief, and it's possible to let it go. It takes patience, compassion, and a lot of honesty with ourselves. I'm not saying I don't judge myself anymore. I still do. We all do. But now I stop listening to that harsh inner voice because it's all a bunch of lies. We are born enough just as we are. Constructive opinions and advice can help us grow. As for the rest, we can simply let go. The same is true for art. Not every stroke or color needs to be perfect for the piece to have meaning or beauty. Of course, we still pay attention to details, pick our colors mindfully, and decide on how much care to put in depending on the subjects. But we don't let the need for perfection stop us from creating or enjoying the process. What matters is that we create, that we allow ourselves to move forward, even when we make mistakes. Letting go of perfection doesn't mean lowering our standards or care less. It means raising our capacity for acceptance and kindness towards ourselves and others, honoring our limits, giving ourselves permission to rest, remembering that it's okay to stop, accepting that we have done enough for now, and being gentle with ourselves. Accept that we are human and that making mistakes is a normal part of learning and being alive. Be kind towards your art, towards the process, towards whatever you do, and most importantly, towards yourself. In doing so, you will find the freedom to create and to live without fear, to explore without judgment, and to see beauty and feel the joy, even if it's imperfect in other people's eyes. I hope this inspires you to be gentle with yourself in your own creative process and in life. Let's remind ourselves that perfection doesn't exist, that we are allowed to make mistakes, to grow at our own pace, and to find peace even when things aren't perfect. Believe that you deserve unconditional love, just as we all do, and trust that letting go of perfection opens the door to more freedom, more creativity, and more connection with ourselves, with our work, and with the world around us. Thank you for watching until the end. If you feel like sharing your own journey, I'd love to hear your story or how this topic resonates with you. Feel free to share it in the comments. Take care and see you in the next video. Bye!